Good afternoon. I'm Karen Holmes Ward. Welcome to our program. The legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is present in the social justice work of today. Owning a home has long been considered a part of the American dream. In 1967, Dr. King said, quote, "The dignity of the individual will flourish when the decisions concerning his life are in his own hands, when he has the assurance that his income is stable and certain, and when he knows that he has the means to seek self-improvement." Well, during this year's State of the City address, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu spoke of the city's affordable housing initiatives and efforts to stem the racial wealth gap.
Home is a place where everything starts. Last year, we permitted the highest ratio of affordable housing in over a decade and approved nearly 7,400 housing units for future development.
And there are many other groups and organizations that are working to narrow those gaps. Joining us now is Lee Pelton. He's president of the Boston Foundation, which is implementing a neighborhoods and housing strategy designed to give all residents of Greater Boston safe and affordable housing. So, Lee, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Explain, if you would, how the Foundation's strategy is going to work.
Right. Well, we're focused on closing the racial wealth gap. And as you probably know, there's been a lot of conversations and a lot of different ways of closing that gap, from creating equity through businesses and so on. Our view is to close the racial wealth gap by promoting and expanding home ownership among folks of color. And the racial wealth gap in this nation is massive. In fact, there's an estimate that our failure to close the racial wealth gap over the last 20 years has cost the American economy about $16 or $17 trillion in that period of time. And if you and I could just snap our fingers and close the racial wealth gap in the Commonwealth today, it would add $25 to $26 billion over the next 5 years. So closing the racial wealth gap is not a zero-sum game, but it lifts all boats and creates prosperity for all of us, as well, of course, putting folks into homes.
And part of building wealth in the Boston Foundation's view is investing in homes, because that's part of generational wealth. Let's give some data here. 65% of Black City residents currently rent. 70% of Latinos rent, 46% of Asians rent, compared to just 33% of white residents. That's from a Boston Indicators report. So talk more about how home ownership is a pathway to wealth building.
Well, first of all, we have to understand that wealth is not income. They're related, but they're not the same thing. We're talking about wealth. We're talking about accumulated assets that one has that you can use, during hard times. If you want to pass it along to your descendants, if you want to be able to use it to provide, a college education for your children, that's wealth. That's not income. And the largest fraction of wealth for most individuals and families is, in fact, their home. And so we're focusing on increasing the access to home ownership in a variety of ways.
Now, how are you going to achieve this goal? What kind of support do you need from legislators, private industry, developers? What's the plan? Well,
it's very complicated. And first of all, let me say there are a lot of different avenues to closing the racial wealth gap. But as I said, we're focusing on home ownership. I need not tell you that owning a home in Boston is very, very expensive. The median list price in August of last year was $936,000 for a home. The median list price for a home in the Commonwealth at the same time was over $600,000. So it's very expensive. And so we're going to be focused on a couple of avenues. One is through a down payment assistance program to let folks get into their home for the first time. The other is working with the city and the Commonwealth and boosting supply, because part of the issue here, the equation is not working out because we have very little supply and lots of demand, and of course that in fact, is increasing the cost and the price.
So this is not a quick fix. How long is the window for this?
No, it's not a quick fix. This is a generational effort, but we're here because this is a generational problem, and so it's not anything that we can fix overnight.
Let me ask you this. In the last few years, we've seen lots of changes in both elected officials and other leadership in Boston. What does that tell you about this city that you first came to? Was a grad student over at Harvard University. Right. What do you see now?
It's not the same city that I knew. It's not even the same city that I knew 6 or 7 years ago. The fact that our last 2 mayors are women of color is significant. We have a woman governor, a woman lieutenant governor. We have a woman who's Andrea Campbell, who's our attorney general, a person of color.
Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley.
We have a congresswoman, and we have a new city council president who's also, Haitian descendant. Woman who is so there's it's a very different
and Lee Pelton heading the Boston Foundation.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
You're right. Yeah.
Now, when you led Emerson College back in 2020, in fact, we have an Emerson College grad just off camera here in the studio. But back in 2020, after the murder of George Floyd, you wrote a letter to your students entitled "America is on Fire," and you said, even in the face of a viral pandemic that had closed down much of human society, it could not stop a black man from being murdered in public view. You called it a legalized lynching. And now you're co-curator of an exhibition at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Will called Steve McQueen's Lynching Tree.
Yes, it is.
So share with us what moved you to bring this iconic photograph to Boston.
Well, this photograph will be only the second time that this photograph has been in an American museum. When I saw it, it was in the Yale Center for British Art. Many of us probably know Steve McQueen as the famed director of 12 Years a Slave, for which he won an Academy Award, Best Picture. But he is, in addition to that, a highly regarded, highly acclaimed British visual artist. And when he was shooting 12 Years a Slave, there is a plot of land on the Mississippi near New Orleans. I think it's called Ninth Point or something like that. And he took an image of a tree. It's a huge tree, gnarled branches sprawling out, and he took a photo of that because he had been told this is where a lynching had occurred.
Yeah, and this impacted you. Seeing this image really struck you, didn't it?
It struck me because it spoke to the black experience being hidden, being buried, having been disappeared, and being forgotten. You don't know it. You don't, when you come to this space, you don't know what has actually happened here. But in fact, that's their lives unburied.
Well, I think it's part of the legacy and leadership that you bring to Boston that spearheaded this effort to show this image at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum.
And I had a great partnership with Peggy Fogelman, who's the director of the museum. The show is on a short notice, and then because of that, just for a couple of weeks, it's going to begin on January 20th and finish on February 4th.
So we want everybody to go see it.
Yes,
and feel the emotions that you felt when you first saw it.
Exactly, and they should hurry up and go see it because tickets are selling very quickly.
All right, Lee Pelton, president of the Boston Foundation. Thank you for joining us, and we want everybody to know Steve McQueen's Lynching Tree will be on display at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum for 2 weeks, from January 20th through February 4th. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Up next, the backlash against diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and the challenges to Black excellence. That's when Cityline continues. And tomorrow morning, the 54th annual Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Breakfast. It begins at 9 a.m. at the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center. The theme, Keeping the Promise of Democracy. And our own Jessica Brown is the leader of ceremonies. We've posted a link to register for the live stream on our community page at wcvb.com/community.